Hey, hi, hello. You can see that I have all my makeup on already because I'm not doing my makeup on camera in this video. Today's more of a chatty video. If you're curious about how I did this eye look in particular, that will have been detailed in the last video I uploaded, where you guys, those of you who follow me on Instagram, got to vote for my eye look, my first look using the Surge palette from Blend Bunny Cosmetics. And that video is basically a first impressions, and you guys helped me put this look together via polls that I put on my Instagram story. If you don't already follow me on Instagram and you want to take part in fun things like that, or just keep up with whatever random things I decide to do, my page will be linked down below. Feel free to follow me over there. We have fun. I'm really happy with how the look came together, so if you're interested in the details on that, definitely watch that video as well. In today's video, we're just kind of chatting about something that I think is important to be honest about with ourselves and with others from time to time, which is I'm talking about products that I've tried that I had a very bad first impression of, and that have either kind of continued to disappoint me or that I've just kind of found a way to work with or have been trying to experiment with to get to work for me. I think this is important to talk about because, excuse me, neighbor's dog, so rude. I test a lot of products and not all of them are winners, and there's no point in not being honest about that. I'm very well versed in that at this point, given some of my very poor makeup purchases over the years. Some not amazing decision making on my part in the past, particularly. Not so much anymore, but still there are a couple recently that have stood out to me in a not so positive way, but I kind of want to talk about them, talk about what my first impression of it was, and kind of how I've played around with certain products over the last few months, just to try to kind of get a better feel for them and make them work, or make them a functional part of my makeup collection so that I don't feel so bad about myself. Let's just get right into it. I have 3 things to talk about. I'm gonna start with the one that has been the most challenging, the most consistently disappointing product for me. This is the Range Beauty True Intentions Hydrating Foundation. Now, here's the thing, and this is where I really want to drive home what the point of this actually is. It's not that these products are bad. Just because I dislike a product for me personally, for my skin type, or whatever kind of techniques I prefer to use when I do my own makeup, that doesn't make it a bad product. One of you out there might try this foundation and love it. I want to go over the reasons why it hasn't been working for me. This is the foundation I'm wearing today. Look at my nose. Look at that nose. Tragic. Hang on, I want to try something. So if I take my lighting down here, not that much. Actually, that'll probably be fine. It's just that I'm blocking you. But if I zoom you in on my skin in the natural, there's some separation happening on the inner portion of my cheeks that I don't love. You can see a lot of my redness and texture coming through, which isn't a bad thing. I like a light coverage. I like my skin kind of coming through my base a little bit. The issue is coverage isn't actually an issue with this product. That's not the issue here, because it is actually a fairly high coverage foundation. I went in with so little of it today, like just the sheerest layer I could possibly get away with, because I thought maybe that would help this foundation's case a little bit if I just use a little, like way less than I even would typically use. And I don't use a lot of foundation in a general, like on a daily basis. I just prefer a lighter coverage base anyway. So I actually used even less foundation today than I normally would. That's not the issue here. The thing is the consistency. So there are a lot of things about the way this foundation actually performs on my skin in particular that I just can't really reconcile with the way that this product is marketed. And that is kind of where the issue is lying the most for me. Range Beauty is a small brand. So I really don't want to just sit up here and shit on them. I really don't. Because I brought up that I was so excited to try this foundation, I have to come back to it. I have to tell you guys what I honestly think about it. So this is marketed as a hydrating foundation, and it is actually, the brand actually like formulates all their products with like really textured, drier skin types in mind, particularly for like eczema prone skin, which is not me. But because of that, because there's a lot of like skincare benefits in here, and it was marketed as being like hydrating and healthy, natural looking kind of skin, which is just generally what I want. I want a more like natural, seamless, like radiant finish when it comes to foundation. And I just kind of assumed that was what was going to be the case with this based on how it was marketed and just kind of my understanding of the brand and its background and the formula here. I kind of immediately knew when I pumped it out of the bottle that things were going to get weird because the consistency was nothing like what I was expecting. And that's really on me. I just kind of assumed because it was a hydrating foundation, it would be a bit more fluid. Not so much like liquidy or anything like that, but just more like if you've tried the NYX Born to Glow, which is one of my favorite foundations, I was kind of expecting something more like that. And this comes out so thick. It's a thick boy. It's a thick boy. And I've tried like shaking it up before I pump it out and all that stuff. That sounded weird. I've tried shaking this up before using it, and it makes no difference. It comes out the same consistency either way. It's just quite a thick formula, which is fine, except that I think that's where many of my issues are stemming from. Now, here's the thing. This is just a really weird... I've had the weirdest experience with this foundation because based on it being designed for like drier, sensitive, textured skin types in mind, I just kind of assumed it would work wonders on my skin because I don't have a drier skin type or even particularly grievous texture issues. I just kind of, I have quite large pores, particularly across the center of my class. What is happening to me today? This is the second video I filmed today. I'm really out of practice, bear with me. I have quite enlarged pores, noticeably large pores, I should say, across the center of my face in particular. I have a lot of fine lines, mostly across this bulbous forehead that I've been blessed with, and like my smile lines and all that kind of stuff. Pretty standard stuff, I think. And I do have a more oily skin type. I'm a combo oily girl, which I think is why this isn't working for me. I think it's because it just does not vibe with my natural oil situation. The weird thing though is I've tried priming my skin so many different ways at this point, and it's still just kind of giving me the same thing every time. So I'm still trying to figure out how to work around it, but I do think it's just an issue of this formula not working with my particular skin type. Because again, the claims of this product are that it's meant to work on textured skin, and I just find... How many times have I tried it now? At least 5 times. Only one time, one of the ways that I tested this product out, did it not do this thing that I'm about to complain about, which is that it just enhances all the texture on my face. It settles so badly into the fine lines on my forehead. It's not doing it so bad today. It does look better today than I've seen it look most of the times I've used it before. I think that's literally just because I used so little of it. So that's just kind of something I'll bear in mind. And this is for light coverage days for me, I guess. But at most of the other times I've used it, And it's not like I use a lot. I'm maybe 1.5 pumps. That's my sweet spot for foundation coverage. And it just looks so bad. No matter how I prime my skin, no matter what powder I use to set it with, like, I don't know what it is. The only time, the best it's ever looked on my skin was when I did this look, because if you were here for this video, I think it's on this side it comes up, this video where I showed you guys how I match my base to my self-tan situation in the warmer months of the year. Hang on, I'm being paranoid. I'm just making sure my mic is plugged in. If you were here for the last video, you understand. I basically, the way that I match my base makeup to my body when I have some self-tanner going on is I prime my skin with the Supergoop Glow Screen because it has a nice, soft, subtle, warm tint to it. And I also use the Glow Screen as a mixing medium, mix it into my foundation, and it just kind of works wonders for various reasons. That is the only way. That is the only technique I've used with this foundation that's actually made it work and look good. Like, not just decent, good. Today I think it looks decent from far away. My nose looks like shit. Most foundations wind up breaking up and looking like shit on my nose. That's not really something to go off of in terms of foundation quality, because I've just never used a foundation that enjoyed sitting on my nose. But it is what it is. Another thing I tried it with, and this is something I was very hopeful for, because the thing about this guy is it basically makes me think in terms of consistency and the way it applies and the way it performs. It's like a higher coverage version of the NYX Bear With Me Skin Veil, which was a favorite of mine about a year ago, and is now discontinued, RIP. But that one, I had very similar issues with it. Like, if I just kind of applied it straight, it enhancing texture on my face and generally looking bad. Like, that was a very finicky formula, but once I figured out how to make it work for me, it worked beautifully. So the way that I got the Bear With Me Skin Veil to work was by mixing it with the Glossier Future Dew. And once I realized that this reminds me a lot of that Skin Veil, just, you know, thicker and with more coverage, I was like, well, maybe if I mix it with the Future Dew, it'll look great and that will be wonderful. And I will say it looked decent when I did that. Not as good as it did with the Supergoop Glow Screen, but not bad either. So I have hope that once I figure out like just the perfect mixture of the two, that using this with the Future Dew will work out better for me in the future. I just kind of have to keep playing with that. But so far, it really only plays well with the Future Dew and the Glow Screen. And today, when I used a pretty microscopic amount of it, just kind of... And I'm still not very happy with the way it looks. I did also prep my skin differently today, because I've been and every time I use this foundation, I do something different, just because I'm trying to take the elements from each test that do work and hopefully eventually can get some routine that makes this stick the landing. Because so far it has just been so challenging to work with. It really just doesn't give the effect to the skin that I was hoping it would, that I was expecting it would, or that I generally go for. In general, it really does just make all the texture on my face jump out. And it definitely doesn't look or feel hydrating, in my opinion. I need to keep playing with this. I had a really gnarly bad couple of first tries at this foundation, and since then it's just kind of been like an experiment, really, just to kind of see what makes it kind of gel better with the rest of my makeup routine. So far, there's only one foolproof way to make it look good, and that's with the Supergoop Glow Screen, which means at least I know that this can be a spring and summer foundation for me when I'm more tan. That's fine. But yeah, I've been having a tough time with this guy. I really feel like I owe it to myself to figure out more than one way to make this foundation work. And I am gonna do it. If you have a different skin type than mine and you've been looking at this foundation, don't let my initial review of it scare you away. Obviously, I'm gonna keep putting this on my face. I'm gonna make it work, and just kind of keep you guys updated on that journey. But just know, I really do think that it's a case of this formula just not playing very well with my skin's chemistry in particular. I just felt like it was worth talking about because this is a product that I was really looking forward to testing out for a long time. And I'm just kind of disappointed in it so far. Now let's talk about an eyeshadow palette that I've had a couple of struggles with. I've actually, for the most part, enjoyed this palette. I've really liked the looks I've done with it. And overall, I think it's good. But there are just a couple things about it that miss the mark. This is the Collidos Flower Punk palette. The way I coveted this, the way that this color story just called to me, still just really, oh, I love it. I love it so much. Like the grungy, pukey, chemically greens and like the plummy berry pinks and the mint. It's such a bummer that it's really only these two mint shades because they really are like standouts to me in this palette. More mint representation in the future. Anyway, let's just get right into it. For the most part, I enjoy this palette. I genuinely do. It is mostly mattes, which I appreciate. I prefer that in a palette. I prefer the ratio of mattes to shimmers to lean more toward the matte side. I don't need a ton of shimmers in a palette. The mattes that I think you would typically reach for as transition shades are nice. That would be peach, these three right here, peach soju, chlorophyll, and golden age. They're kind of like a thing of like, you can do just a sheer wash of each of them, or you can build them up and make them quite intense. So they are buildable and just really nice. This mint, this matte mint green, mint fever, it's so beautiful. And the three shimmers in here are simply gorgeous. The mint green shimmer, Aloe Cove, and stained glass, which is this beautiful, let me see if I can just swatched it to give you a bit of an idea. It's almost got like it's like a pink to lilac-y duochrome. I will say these two shimmers right next to each other here are more of like, they have like a sheer base with quite a bit of sparkle, whereas Sungazer, this kind of grungy, greeny tone gold, really gorgeous, is more of like a solid shimmer. And by that I mean it's not got that clear base. It's not like a sparkly shade with a clear base. It's more like it's a standard shimmer. But it's different from the other two because of that, because it's more like, it just did it. Did you see that flake that just fell? It's a bit more crumbly and not as smooth, in my opinion, as the other. Can you even see that? My light just, oh my god, my swatching skills. There we go. It doesn't really want to glide on and stick as well as the other two shimmers do. Because they have this, even when you swatch them, you can tell they have this almost kind of like gel-like feeling to them. So they just kind of glide on so perfectly. This gold shade just takes a bit more working with. I found even with a glitter or pigment primer situation, because I typically lay down some kind of sticky base for my shimmers to stick to. Not always, but more often than not. Even with that kind of base laid down, this guy will give you some serious fallout, whereas the other two shimmers really don't. I don't have that issue with them. There's a bit of an inconsistency with formulation in this palette across the board, but I noticed it most starkly between like the the shimmer situation because this guy is just so different from these other two shimmers. Now, the real issue in this palette, for me, in my opinion, is the two deeper shades. That is Nouveau and Earthship. Earthship is the most disappointing shade. Here's the thing. I knew that was coming because I had seen reviews of this palette. Like, people that I typically trust their opinion on eyeshadow formulation in particular, because I do have fairly sensitive eyes. It seemed like the general consensus was that this was the most disappointing shade in the palette because it just kind of has an issue, and I can confirm this now, with staying on. It genuinely is quite frustrating. I'll see if I can find a picture of the first time I tried this palette. I literally, my outer corner was like balding. Like, this shade was just continually coming off of my eye. So I've kind of decided that Earthship is more so a shade that you use to like smoke out your eyeliner or some situation like that. Because even for like adding just a little bit of depth to the outer corner or something like that, it just doesn't really want to play very well. And I had a lot of the same issue with Nouveau, which was also disappointing to me because it doesn't look on the eye quite like I was hoping it would. I thought it was more like going to be like a deep berry shade situation, and it's really more of like a dusty plum. And it does a lot of the same it has a lot of the same issues that Earthship does, in that it no matter how much you try to pack it on and like very minimally blend it, like just barely touch it around the edges, it just kind of dusts off, just kind of vanishes into nothing. And the reason why that is so, these two shades in particular are so disappointing to me is because they're really the only deepening shade. They're really the only shades with depth in the palette. So that's just kind of lame. Still, I have enjoyed using this palette. I'm gonna keep using it. I'm gonna keep doing looks with it because this color story is just dreamy. But I've definitely had issues with it for sure that I felt like were worth touching on because you guys have seen me use it a couple times now over on my Instagram. So I just wanted to make sure you guys knew exactly what I felt about it. Do I like it? Yes. Would I necessarily recommend you pick it up? Not really, unless you're a person like me who can kind of see past the flaws in it and really focus on the good parts of it, because the shades in here that are good are really, really good. Also, on the note of the two mattes in there that I don't like, it's not like deep, plummy, berry shades or dark, grungy greens are underrepresented in my collection at all. So I can kind of see past that because I already have too many eyeshadows at my disposal. But if you're newer to makeup, I don't think you don't need this. Maybe someday, but not right now. The last product I want to talk about, I've tried a few products from Rare Beauty at this point. Their liquid blushes, love them. Standout product for me. If you're curious about Rare Beauty and you don't know what to try first, the Soft Pinch liquid blushes are fantastic. I also am still getting to know the concealer formula. I'm still testing it out in a few different ways, but so far just really loving their concealer as well. This is a product from Rare Beauty that I don't love and don't recommend and don't plan on repurchasing. Selena fans, do not come for me. This is their, what is it even called? Hang on. It's the lip gloss, the glossy lip balm, the balmy gloss situation. It has some long name. Mine is in the shade Nearly Rose. This is basically their lip gloss. Beautiful shade. I don't even dislike the formula. The thing is, for what it is, I do think it's too expensive. It's what, $18, $19? It's in the same kind of rank as a lot of other high-end glosses available at Sephora that I do think are good and worth that price point. I don't think this is for what it is, just because of the effect it kind of gives to the lips and like no, you don't need to spend that much money for this gloss. But the main issue I have with it, and this is important, is whatever fragrance it is they have in this product, it's nasty. Here's the thing. I've heard other people say they don't like the scent of this product. It has the same scent as their lip balms. So if you've tried that and didn't like it. The only thing is, I think people have said that the lip balms also taste nasty, and from what I can tell, this doesn't have a discernible taste. So there's something, but it does have the same scent, apparently. The first time I used this, it literally gave me a headache. And made me feel nauseous. This is not common for me. There's only one other lip gloss formula I've tried in the last year or so that I can remember doing that to me. And I'm not even, it's the Ofra lip glosses. I fucking hated their lip gloss formula. There's really no point in talking about it now because I just don't talk about Ofra on my channel or anywhere online anymore. And not really fucking with them anymore. But yeah, their lip gloss hurt me in much the same way that this one did. The first time I tried it, I had it on for not very long. I want to say like a couple minutes, and immediately started feeling that headachy, nasty feeling. And from there, just started feeling like nauseous. And I was like, what the hell is going on? Because it's not something lip products commonly do to me. I'm really not sensitive to fragrance. I really want to put that out there. So if you are, there's a chance it will actually hurt you worse than it hurt me, and that's why I feel like we need to talk about it. It also just smells bad. It smells bad. Not only does it hurt me, it smells bad. There's literally no point to the fragrance in here for me personally. Now I will say I think it being opened worked in its favor. Dog, arf arf, goodness gracious. Because I have put it on a couple other times since I tried it that first time. The second time I wore it, the scent was much less noticeable, but I did still have like lingering kind of nasty feelings while I had it on. I was like, that's not good. But I've worn it 2 other times since that time, and it hasn't caused any headaches or nausea or anything like that. And I really, let's see, if I smell it now, what's it? The smell is diminished greatly. It's like barely noticeable. So I'm gonna run through this tube so as not to be wasteful, but I'm not gonna buy this. I'm not gonna buy this formula again. And knowing that the same fragrance is in their lip balms is actually incredibly helpful to me, because now I know I also don't need to try those because my experience with this was so unpleasant. Between the fragrance thing and it literally having a physical effect on me, a negative physical effect on me, and also just the formula being really nothing special, I don't recommend this product generally. Again, I don't think it's bad. I think that the shade and the form, it feels nice, it looks nice, but like the price point it's at for it just to be nice and also stinky and give you headaches, no. It's gonna be a no for me. But hey, one for 3. The other 2 products I've tried from Selena Gomez's brand, I've really, really enjoyed. So this hasn't turned me off from the brand at all. It's just I don't think lip products from them are gonna be for me, personally. Goodbye. And that is that. Those are some products I've tried recently that have just either straight up not been working out, or, you know, for better or worse, we're getting through it. I will come back to you guys with updated thoughts on that foundation as that journey evolves, because I'm stubborn. And maybe you guys will enjoy watching me struggle. That's valid. They can't all be winners. That's just, there's a lot of makeup products on the market at this point, and everybody likes different things. Every product is going to work differently for each individual person. And I do think it's worth it to talk about the things that aren't working for me, because maybe if you've come across a similar issue with a product in your collection that's frustrating you, I can give you some tips and tricks to help you out. I do think there is value in working around finicky formula issues and making difficult products work for you and actually be functional in your routine. So that was just kind of why I wanted to talk about these things today. That does it for this video. I hope that you enjoyed, or it was at least somewhat interesting. I don't know. I don't know what you guys are going to think about this. I'm putting it up anyway. I like doing stuff like this, just kind of chatting at you guys occasionally. So this was fun for me. I hope that you enjoyed as well. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching. Let me know in the comments down below, what are some products you've tried recently and not liked? Or have just been having a hard time getting to work for you, or that you have managed to get to work for you in spite of them being difficult. I'm genuinely interested. I hope you guys are having a wonderful holiday season and that you're doing well. Thank you for taking some time out of your day to hang out with me and chat for a little bit about nonsense. Yeah, that does it. Be kind to others, be good to yourself, and I'll see you back here for the next one. I don't know if my next video is going up before the year is over, or if it's going to be the first video of 2022. We're going to see. But I'll see you back here for the next one. Whatever the case, have an awesome rest of your day. Bye. So there is a bit of a, what's the word? I can't remember words today.